in 2022.
Plenty of mostly good things to say, but one curious question pops up. Why does the black pigeon, whose ability and decision to actually speak is the central focus of his entire channel, seem to effect certain affectations that at first come off as distinguishing marks of sophistication, which seem to connote an unusual attention to detail and correctness, but then later just begin to grate as purely pretentious, or simply sneaky shortcuts to that super sought-after respect, the respect for authority, and the authority of the brainy sounding, in this case. Yes, all of that comprising just one single question. And, case in point, why is it that we hear, out of one side of the beak, the black pigeon, within the same sentence, give utterance to the grandiloquent sounding hard T in certain words rather than the more convenient glottal stop or ubiquitous bastardization of T, unnaturally and unnecessarily so, in words like 2021 and 2022, as if it were a sign of dignity and precision, both in mind and tongue, to emphasize those audible suchly, but then out of the other side of the beak, within the self-same sentence, the pigeon noir thinks nothing of tossing out the rather pedestrian-sounding popularity with standard lazy D, for T consonant at the end, popular, AD. What a stark contrast in indifference of utterance, on the one hand, or wing as it were, and fanatical adherence to a phantom phonetics on the other. I think there may be several deep-seated reasons for such vocal decisions, if they are indeed consciously chosen, which, as that point might not be true, may require a more lengthy historical inquisition into the speaker's emotional journeys overall and their inevitable vicissitudes accompanied by various accoutrements of mental-mechanical defense. But, in such a case, it's possible that the choice, only for T's, was made long ago and by now has become second nature. Still, who do you know, friend, foe or foul, that actually makes a point to take the time to tap the tip of the tongue to utter every T in the tones and tones of written language as if each T truly were intended to be tongued with pluperfect particularity? Who, I ask, who? Well, the goddamned black pigeon, apparently. That's who. But, more power to him, I have to suppose. Disclaimer. And don't think the irony involved in poking lowbrow fun at a selectively excessively articulate pigeon by means of an excessively effulgent exposition of said excessive whatnot is lost on its excessively exponentially superfluously fatuously and overly ornate author, le eloquentiae macabre, and B. After going back to find said self-same sentence containing all three instances of two hard T's and a lazy T come D, the actual whereabouts of said, literally, sentence within the video was elusive. However, plenty, not plenty, of other examples were sprinkled throughout. Many 2020 numbered year bombs. One confusingly normal-sounding 2016, not 2016, and a handful of examples to the contrary like totally, not totally, imported. not imported. 394, not 94. $278 billion, not 78. And it should also be noted, not noted. By the way, there was also one beautiful use of the almost stutter chic cool guttural C/rolling R crystal clear. Oh, and not one but two full British schedule toss-outs. But I have it on good authority that, historically speaking, something this pigeon should know about. Pronouncing its schedule has always been fairly common amongst the older, well-educated Canadians. However, that authority, who takes delight in annoying his younger fellow Canucks read his kids, is a self-admitted, self-described stuffy old fart, so there's that. See, and to boot, which of course rhymes with about. My earlier employment of the word grandiloquent must be now taken as proof positive of the power and the glory of the occasionally belittled and even denied subconscious, as it had been assumed by this writer that this writer was deftly and freshly foisting a magically delicious word upon the writer's audience. Y'all comment readers here in the unread entrails of a lesser prophet, the pigeon, on a lesser platform like BitChute, which is reminiscent of what one might say if one were starring in a hip-hop heist movie and the bank teller opted for Lippy rather than hand over the lootie, and one had a trusty gunner vixen type crime gangmate hoarding a gun on said teller. Bitch shoots. But, alas, upon a rewatch or two, it became painfully obvious, first, upon the activation of unnecessarily acute hearing skills when listening to the baffling sponsored ad, helmed by the Indian lad in the middle of the video, as this writer did a double take via ears and did his or her best Scooby impression, Randrello what? And then, second, rewind, yeah. That's what he said. All right. Especially now, remember, unnecessarily above, that the quite large yet somehow unseen before consciously subtitle spelled it out right there and then. Grandiloquent. Damn, dude beat me to it. Must give pigeon dude that, at least. Give the pigeon dude his due. Not the doo-doo, though, that would be unseemly. But, you see, the subconscious, beggars and sisters, or brothers and what have you, is a majestic, powerful beast, and must be respected. It is only in these rarest of moments, caught by the rarest of birds, observers, those with heightened senses of the matrix, nature of reality, and at one with the ideas that one, everything is not what it seems, two, indeed nothing, likely, is, three, but that would depend on what the definition of is, thank you, Bill Clinton, for that ontologically subtle lesson wrapped in the enigma that was the Lewinsky affair, and four, we are likely not the captains of our destinies as much as we'd hoped. In fact, five, some have postulated and even endeavored to prove by way of neurological science that every so-called conscious decision we make, or even conscious thought that mysteriously occurs to us, do we think up thoughts, or are they simply provided to us from somewhere else? Is preceded some number of seconds, microseconds or nanoseconds prior to our awareness of said willful event. by other activity in the brain, almost as if all such things had their origins in the murky depths of our subpsyches, and only later percolated on up to our unwittingly unaware conscious minds, like tiny thought bubbles from the abyss. It is only in these moments, if you'll recall, that we are humbled by the unknown, the largely opaque quality of existence, and the possibility that perhaps the more we row our boats, the more this dream called life is truly revealed as an illusion. Mazel tov, Maya. Now, let all that be known.